So, to say, as I've kind of already said, welcome to everybody. And it is really special to have people from all around the world coming together like this. And remember that you do create, just each of us stood on the land where we are, creates that connection to the land. And we hold a web of consciousness, like acupuncture needles all the way around the earth. So it is an absolute thank you for each of you for putting the time aside in your life, for bringing your energy here. Each of us have contributed in that way, and invite each of you to send a thank you to everybody else that has put this time to one side in their life to bring us, to create that we all come together. Continuing from last week. Now, it's interesting. Last week unfolded itself. I'd only partially planned it, and I'd not really planned at all the actual the way that we did the healing practice. That was spontaneously presented, and I find that when something new and when another level is ready to be manifest and ready to be shared, then it's just there. And we did last week something that has never ever done anything like it before in Angelic Reiki. And it was actually very dangerous because it needs great discernment and purity to hold the space. And it's dangerous because it seems like an invitation for the ego, in the intentions of the ego, the intentions of us, what Christine wants, what anybody else wants. As you know, within an Angelic Reiki healing, the founding principle is thy will, not my will. If we're holding the energy for someone and they have very bad headaches, we don't give the healing hoping the headaches will go away. Or if they've just fallen out with the boyfriend, hoping they don't feel sad or whatever. We never ever put our hopes and intents and intentions into the healing space. We acknowledge that the divine, in that divine supreme intelligence and wisdom and love, knows what is the perfect energy to bring for that person. So we don't put any intent, hope, or thought into it. Our discipline is to just hold that unconditional space. And as human beings, we have a natural, it feels like natural anyway, intention to make people better, to help, to improve a situation. But that is our perception and take on a situation. And that has no place, because we acknowledge that the divine knows what needs to happen. And somebody might have terrible headaches, but perhaps what needs to change is the reason for the headaches. Okay, but last week we visioned something. I, and those that have known me over some time, will know that I have always been totally against the idea of manifesting something. Okay, and that's totally contrary to the spiritual norm. Create your own reality, vision the future. What do you want? You know, do whatever you need, vision it, do posters of it, etc. That is me inflicting my will, and it's bottom up. Okay, and it's Luciferian. It's my will over divine will. And if I am willing to receive the creation of the divine, then it is our very purpose to ground that. And that's the divine down and holding the vision here, not, Christine begging for something, a new house, living in a nice place, a new car, a new whatever it might be. Okay, so it's very, very different. But the difference is subtle, because whatever the divine is bringing, when we cognitize that, when we hold the image of it, it is very easy for us to put our interpretation and our intent and our agenda to it. But if we cannot hold it, it never happens. We are the handmaidens of the divine. The fundamental, the example I always use is the idea of a bowl. Okay, so a bowl, as a pure archetype, a bowl can be something that I go get water with, something that I mix bread in, something that just holds something. It's a chalice, it can hold the divine, it can be the womb, or it is just the archetype of the process of to hold. And all of that is part of that archetype. So if I need to go get some water, then it tends to dribble through my hands. That doesn't work very well. So I need something, and there is the potential of bowl, of holding, as a divine archetype model, thing that is possible. So when I hold the idea of a bowl in my consciousness, then I can then go and dig the clay and form that bowl, and then go get the water to give to somebody who's possibly dying of thirst. But I haven't imposed my will on creation. I've received a divine archetypal possibility, and then Christine went to dig the clay. I manifested it on earth. It's very, very different. Okay, so what we're doing in this magical, I'm really excited about this. It's an amazing new purpose, literally a new purpose of Angelic Reiki, to be part of manifesting the new earth. But it is us grounding the divine intent. But if we don't cognitize it, we can't do it. We're here. I have to go dig the clay. Okay? So it's very different. So please be very conscious of having pure anticipation, not mind-driven hopes and intentions. It's very subtle. So we did a general visualization or a general intent for the new earth last week, and it was, I think everybody enjoyed it. It was inspiring, it was fun, it was a lovely, joyful thing to do, as opposed to some of the conversations we've had in the past. So what came to me this week is we need to refine this. What do we mean by all the things that we said? And I realized how important it is to actually know what we're asking for. And how would it look? How did it work out? So a vision is for humans to always be healthy. How does that work? What does that mean? So I really felt that to be actually of any use at all, the vision of, oh, I want all humans to be healthy, is a pipe dream. We've got to ground the detail of that and the practicalities of how that actually functions. What does it look like? How does it work? How do people know how to be healthy? And that very subject can be subdivided into many, many things, from good housing to good food to good medicine. It's a very broad subject. So I realized this week that to actually really participate in this manifesting of the new earth, we needed to know what we're talking about. And we needed to hold specific visions so that the detail and the practicalities can be grounded through us. So what I was given, or what I saw, was the bright idea was to start at the beginning. So in our groups this week, which which good old Zoom just sorts people out and puts them in groups. The subject I would like you to discuss, and it'd be really interested to see how much you actually know, and it's fine if you don't know about any of this. It may be that it's a catalyst to do research. So, on the new earth, how does sacred conception work? How does gestation and pregnancy, what's that like? And what are the principles of birth? How do we birth our babies? How do we conceive our babies? And how do we birth our babies in the highest spiritual way? What does that look like on the new earth? Okay. So this will be very much about sharing information as well. Just to remind you, please, to nominate a spokesperson for your group, and that person will will share at the end, and that person will need to be happy to actually be on the video, and both seen and heard on the video. Okay. Right, so we'll do the same as we did last time. We'll do 7 groups. So, I'll call you back in about 20 minutes. Enjoy, be creative, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Okay. So it's now over to you, and to ask each of the spokespersons for the group to share just an essence, not too much, because there's 7 groups, otherwise it takes too long. So group 1, who is your spokesperson, please?
Hi, Christine, it's Carleen. Can you see me?
Yes.
Hi. So in essence, Christine, let's just make sure that we understood your question. So we understood your question to be, how does sacred conception work with birth in the new world?
And how do we deal with pregnancy and birthing? But
okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, we all agree that a soul that is born onto this earth chooses to be here and is aware that it has life lessons to learn on the earth. I'm not sure whether the whole group agrees with that, but that's what we envisioned. That's what we know from what we've read. Secondly, we all agree that mother and father, i.e. masculine and feminine, when they come together from a pure space of love, detaching from ego, and conceive a child, that child fully developing in the mother's womb, 9 months of conception, is being born of a pure love consciousness, being in a space of love and being born with a very high vibration, full of light and godlike love consciousness. And that could work if both parents have detached from their ego selves and without having influences of, I don't know, schools and friends and aunties and uncles and what have you.
Thank you.
Very great that that could happen, but we know that we all have different viewpoints and beliefs. So I'm not sure how that would work given how we're currently, and those of us who know more about the vaccine and don't want it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And I think I've said it all there.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if the girls want to add anything else.
We haven't time to do that really. It just needs to come through the spokesperson.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's it then.
Thank you. Great.
Okay.
Group 2, who was your spokesperson?
Hi, Christine.
Okay, thank you.
For room 2.
Yes.
In very short, Virgin Mary and Jesus like high vibration, and only love, a more pure love, 100% real love, unconditional love, and teach to new children love, not competition, and teach to children to see in other people brothers, not enemies.
Thank you. Thank you. Group 3. Okay. Yeah, go for it. Oh, who's group 3? Cheryl, were you? No? Who's group 3? Cheryl, go for it. No, who's group 3 spokesperson?
That was, I think they chose me.
Okay.
Yeah, to be quite honest, we spent a little too much time introducing each other to ourselves. On my behalf, or the feeling I got from our group was that we would definitely, if not all of us, then certainly I would agree with what Caroline had to say, totally. The basic idea was that all 3 souls are, parts of that union, that decision, that choice, and the pregnancy certainly, and a conception itself should be approached mindfully, mindfully. So people should get ready to accept that soul, with love and purity. And I don't really think I have words. I think it was said just perfectly. Just loving consciousness. We didn't get to the birthing. Again, I've been lately following a lot the work of Caroline Myss, MYSS, whoever is familiar with her. I really like her. I think she's British by origin. She's talking actually, she's mentioning the opposite, and that would be when the mother thinks that a child it's not a good time. So even that could be done mindfully, kind of ritually, and talk to this had a spiritual connection and a form of a spiritual interaction and a dialogue with that soul. Perhaps it's not the right time for you yet. And the opposite would apply. Have that spiritual connection with that child while it's in the womb, and the father also. So the unity is so much tighter, stronger when the child actually comes to the real physical world.
Thank you. Group 4.
That's me.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
So we talked about it happens in the same way, but more spiritually. It's a more mature way of doing things. It's a more conscious way. It's something that we talked about was about the child that it's coming doesn't inherit anything from our DNA. So it comes in a conscious way from mother and father, or mother and mother, or father and father, because we talked about it could be between the same gender also. The child doesn't bring any karma to apply in her life. It doesn't bring any luggage. It's a fresh start for that being to be birthed here. And the gestation can be brought by a female or a male, because it's something that can happen. Why not? And we thought we talked a little bit about this and the connection between both of them, either way, either of them, male or female. It's done in a very loving and a very conscious way, and it has no attachments to anything that is very physical, so it turns into some more spiritual connection. It's kind of, I said it in the beginning, kind of like an immaculate conception. So it's a connection, a very deep connection, it's a physical one, of course, but a very deep connection between two souls that are bringing consciously and lovingly some other soul here that chose to be here. And this is what we bring to the table, our group.
Thank you. Were you group 5? 4? 4? I can't. Group 5.
Group 5.
Right, thank you, Adam.
Yeah. Hello. So we discussed the idea that it would be a much more conscious decision that's being made. So we would understand the full responsibilities of everything that we were choosing to do by having babies. The vibrations would be perfectly unified, so that it would be just like the Immaculate Conception is what pops into my head, because it would just be the perfect matching of parents and child, and the full responsibility, not just the responsibility of physical living, but obviously the responsibilities of having a spiritual connection and all of that sort of thing as well. When it comes to gestation, we were discussing the idea that you could maybe pick the time scales for gestation. Would it have to be a full 9-month process, or would you be able to just do it in a bit of a shorter space of time? But I think some of the other group members thought that maybe the 9 months was more to do with the bonding process as well as the gestation and growth process. And also, again, we discussed like the idea that maybe it could be the male and female that carry the baby. It wouldn't have to be a woman that did it. Like, I could carry the baby if I so chose to.
Where would you put it?
But again, I think, well, this is the thing, you know, if in a utopian world, I'd be so connected with my own vibration that I could manifest myself a womb to do what I needed to at the time. I wouldn't be tied into the masculine body all of the time, because it'd be the perfect connection of the perfect unity of the masculine and the feminine. But other group members just said that actually that wouldn't work, and that men have their jobs and the women have theirs. You know, that's the point of having man and woman. So there you go. That's group 5.
Thank you. Group 6.
That's me.
Hi.
That's us, I should say. We started off with each parent would have the physicality, all levels, but physicality that's perfect for childbirth. And that the conception itself would be very ceremonial with divine intention and surrounded in divinity and love. And that the birth itself would be very organic and very natural, and that there would be doulas and midwives and experts within the overall community that knew what to do, and also that there would be an intelligence of yourself, that you would listen to your own intentions of what whoever was birthing, female birthing, that you would know what to do yourself anyway. And that there was more of a surrounding of people who were expert, and that each child that was born was as much and as loved by everybody else in the community as the two parents that in fact have it. And each child would be planned and loved and had that perfect spot at whatever time. And that when each child is born, that they are born knowing the divinity that they are, that there is no separation. And so they have all the power and empowerment that they could possibly require, and there's no concept of fear or pain and suffering. Yeah, so very pure. And they would also be able to leverage and would be aware of all the innate gifts that they have been given and receive them willingly. And we also talked about whether there was specific genders or not, and if people had the ability to change based on the environment that they were in. And I think that's pretty much what we had.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Group 7.
That's me.
Hi.
That's my group. So you can only imagine that our whole conversation went in a completely different direction. The question really becomes, when you talk about sacred conception, that how does this conscious intent to create life using sacred geometry, divine consciousness to manifest in the 5th dimension, would you know, that really brought a lot of questions around for us. And we really felt that the physical act of birthing would not be necessary in a higher dimension, because in a higher dimension, though they have an energy that it has a shape and a form, it doesn't necessarily have to function in a physical way. It functions in a higher energy way. And so those were our questions. We really wondered, you know, how would the act where Jesus was able to take some dust and create a sparrow, how would that idea manifest in the 5th dimension for birthing new offspring, new ideas, new conceiving of almost anything would happen in a completely different way than what we know of now, because the dimensional energy is vibrating at a much different way. So there's a lot of questions. And how would the sacred geometry change? How does the faster speed of the energy change the geometry and its behavior? Those were a lot of the questions that we had. And really wondering, you know, what the cosmic design blueprint would be, and if everyone would be able to tap into that cosmic design blueprint. So we have a lot of questions, more than we have answers.
Thank you. That sounds lovely. Thank you, everyone. Very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Sorry, and I had to giggle sometimes. Please forgive me. Or not.
Oh, Absolutely.